This is Our News, the weekend edition, and on the broadcast tonight, despite widespread support for the decriminalization of marijuana, the National Security Minister maintains the law is the law. Plus, an outspoken backbencher criticizing government over its borrowing. Find out what he has to say. And later on, ATLANTIS dishes out thousands of dollars in cash and prizes to its most deserving team members.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Good evening, I'm Andrew Knowles, and thanks so much for joining us. Topping news tonight, National Security Minister MARVIN says the law is the law as it pertains to marijuana. This as members of the Rastafarian community appeal to higher-ups in law enforcement to use their discretion when it comes to marijuana arrests. Our Jared Higgs reports.
This is a process, and as a government, we promised that we will go through this process. We were very methodical, very structured in our approach.
The National Security Minister insisted that the law is still the law as it relates to marijuana, despite major demonstrations of support from Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis. While he says the status quo remains, he suggested that government is working hard towards change.
We ensured that we canvassed the length and breadth of this country, getting the opinions of ordinary Bahamians. The Commission as well traveled abroad to see how it's currently been done in other countries who have legalized marijuana for recreational and medicinal purposes.
In its recently tabled preliminary report, the Bahamas National Commission on Marijuana recommended decriminalizing up to 1 ounce of marijuana and legalizing medicinal marijuana. However, the commission was split on whether to legalize recreational marijuana.
As a government, now that the Prime Minister would have laid the results of the commission report, it is now up to us now to read through it very carefully. And then this is where, it's decision-making time, which direction we intend to go. And we will certainly have a healthy discussion on the recommendations.
Representatives from the Pharmacy Council also expressed some concerns over the Commission's recommendations. Dames admits they have a big decision to make.
At the end of the day, whatever decisions are made will be made in the best interest of the Bahamian people, will be made in the best interest of this nation.
Reporting for Our News Weekend, I'm Jared Higgs.
The review committee tasked with investigating the circumstances surrounding the murder of Royal Bahamas Defence Force officer, Petty Officer Philip Perpall, who was killed last April while on duty at Government House, is wrapping up that report, according to National Security Minister MARVIN Dames.
We have a draft document now that we're in the process of reviewing. But this will go hand in hand with that. I had the opportunity to meet with the chairman. We're quite pleased with the work that they would have undertaken and completed. And very shortly we'll be sharing with the public the results of that report.
The committee members include former Police Commissioner Reginald Ferguson, former RBDF Commodore Roderick Bowe, and former police officers Douglas Hanner and Paul Jones. Dames could not give a timeline when the report would be made public, but insisted it's needed to improve security in public spaces.
We're always looking at opportunities to improve, and the objective behind that was to see where our failings were. And in this case our security failings and what we need to do to improve. This is all a part of an overall effort, of course, and I would have mentioned this before, that we're in the process of reevaluating and reviewing the way we secure our public spaces.
In other news this evening, outspoken Pine Ridge Member of Parliament Frederick McALPINE is slamming government's decision to borrow nearly $600 million in the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian. McALPINE says the government seems to not understand the severity of what's taking place in the country. Bethany McDermott reports.
It's just terrible.
That was the candid response from the Pine Ridge MP as government seeks to borrow more than $500 million post-Dorian. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Peter Turnquest, in delivering the supplementary budget statement in the House of Assembly last week, said $82.7 million is associated with Hurricane Dorian-related expenses.
You're borrowing $600 million, and the bulk of that is to assist with Dorian. But the question still arises, what happened to the $100 million that was borrowed from IDB to help us for such a time as this, as a hurricane disaster? Where has that been spent? People can't seem to see where that money has been spent and how it has been spent. And it seems like people are very concerned because a lot of things that has been done as a result of Hurricane Dorian has been international help.
Government spending for the fiscal year is projected to be $208.1 million more than was initially forecasted. $120 million of the additional spending is non-hurricane related. McALPINE didn't stop there. He also hit out at government's decision to increase travel perks for cabinet ministers and their spouses. The new travel policy includes a $100 per day per diem for spouses, an increase in ministerial per diem for domestic travel from $80 to $100 per day, and from $150 to $250 for international travel. Ministers are to be afforded membership to the American Airlines Admirals Club, and paid spousal trips have been increased from once to twice per year.
I've always had a problem with that. I mean, I have a problem with the fact that today as government, we're still paying insurance for people's wives and children, and people are struggling just to get a rock sheet in their house. So I think our priorities are mixed up, and I don't think, maybe perhaps my government may be playing crazy, but I don't think they understand the severity of what's taking place in Grand Bahama, in ABACO, and by extension, I'll go as far as to say, even in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Bethany McDermott.
With nearly half of the nearly 3,000 homes in the Over the Hill community still without indoor plumbing, officials from the Over the Hill unit says that it is an issue that they are currently working on. Here's project manager Kemi Jones.
We have about 3,000 homes in the area. Only about half of them are on the water supply, and many of those are not simply because that they don't have connection. Some people just couldn't afford it and have been turned off. So we are looking for that and trying to upgrade the water quality.
Jones says while it is a focus of the unit, the reality is the issue will not be an immediate fix. He says focus has also been placed on improving housing in the Over the Hill community and a water for all strategy to eliminate the need for sand pipes and outside toilets by the year 2025.
That's something that when we originally initiated and launched our white paper, we were very honest with the public that that's not something that's going to happen right away. So we set a target for 2025 because that it has to be well thought out, and it's going to take quite a bit of work on the ground.
Jones says in the meantime, work has started on refurbishing existing infrastructure.
We did start doing work to restore the outdoor pumps because that's a reality, that's a way of life, and we don't expect that to go away anytime soon. Some persons do need that, and it is a stopgap until we have more sustainable programs in place. We have done work in terms of clearing out the drains and stuff, so when you do have hurricanes, that there's going to be less flooding in the area, and that's something we intend to continue doing. The public is also going to soon see that we're actually doing some work to some of the pipes, so for homes that are getting low quality water, pipes will be restored so you have increased water flow.
And still ahead tonight, find out what's hindering the cleanup on ABACO. That story and more when we come back.
Check. So all you've been doing on this court was traveling. When you see me travel, go watch my free NBA pass game. I can come back harder, smoke it, spicy.
Free NBA pass.
Doing what we have doing. Each month they send a lucky customer on an all-expense-paid trip to the States to watch a game. And even if you don't win that, you could have a local experience because they can pay for all your food and drinks and participate in bars, so you still can have a good time, bro.
I could get in on that.
All you have to do is sign up for Trio and you enter the drawing. Rare, don't lie.
Don't get denied like this guy. Make sure you come through in the clutch. Sign up for Trio and be a Rev NBA All-Star. Guarantee your chance to win a free trip to an NBA game every month when you sign up for Trio today. Call 601-8992. Terms and conditions apply. Rev, you and us together.
Next tonight, Member of Parliament for Central and South Abaco, James Albury, is insisting the cleanup of private properties on Abaco has added to the overall challenge of getting Abaco back up and running after it was slammed by Hurricane Dorian more than 5 months ago. Albury says while there have been challenges, he believes the new disaster ministry's work has been vital. Jasmine Brown has his candid comments in this report.
When it comes to debris removal, that's it's a very sensitive thing, and that's a very there's a lot of stages in that process because you're talking about not a neighborhood, you're talking about cities worth of debris, you know, multiple settlements worth of debris, tons and tons and tons of just rubble and all different sorts of trash, some which has to be, of course, disposed of very carefully, some maybe not so much, and then of course all the work in between separating it.
That's how Central and South Abaco Member of Parliament James Albury describes the ongoing challenges faced on Abaco in the wake of monster storm Dorian. On September 1st, the eye of Hurricane Dorian made landfall on the Abaco Islands with maximum sustained winds of 185 miles per hour and a storm surge of 20 feet, making it the strongest hurricane on record to impact the Bahamas. The Minutes administration has hired several private companies to assist with the cleanup on both islands. Given the fact that Abaco was the most severely impacted, cleanup there has taken considerably longer. Albury says the already challenging task of cleaning up is further complicated by the amount of debris that remains on private properties.
A lot of the areas where you still have a lot of debris or what I'll call semi-standing structures, but are obviously no longer structurally secure, you know, just from looking at them. A lot of that is private businesses and private lands, and everyone knows that the government can't just come and, you know, bulldoze built structures on private property with no sort of notice or communication with the owner of said property. So I think there's gonna have to be some work there, I think, because there's responsibility on both ends. So persons who are, you know, still have semi-standing structures, especially the larger businesses, because those are still what I call the more outstanding, you know, obstructions, especially in debris removal, because all the public thoroughfares have been pushed through and cleared, all the public utilities. There's still a few government-owned buildings that are in a state of disrepair, but as far as thoroughfares and public access, that's all been cleared and pushed through.
Albury pointed out that the government cannot just go onto private property and destroy what little people have left. He says while they want to be sensitive, it is imperative that the private properties are cleaned up.
Obviously, we can't be insensitive to the fact that, you know, people have just lost everything. And to try and just show up and tell them, hey, well, you got to pay X amount of money to get this out of here. You know, we have to be careful with that, because there's their responsibility. It is their, in a lot of cases, their land and their buildings, their businesses. But it's also part of the community that it needs to be dealt with. So I don't want to speak out of turn and say, you know, there's any sort of ultimatum or anything like that. That's not my understanding at all. But I certainly hope we can work towards that. Because that's where a lot of, once again, directly from constituent to myself, that's where a lot of the frustrations as far as debris removal is coming from, especially in the central area. Once again, so you do have a lot of those outstanding things.
As for the overall efforts to get both Abaco and Grand Bahama back to normal, Albury commended the work of the Ministry of Disaster Preparedness, Management and Reconstruction. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, former opposition leader Loretta Butler Turner is blasting government's reconstruction efforts post-Dorian. She says Dorian has prompted the greatest fumbling by the Minutes administration. She spoke with our Bethany McDormand.
I think that I think that the government has been abysmal in handling the reconstruct and everything as it relates to the tragedy of Dorian.
In the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Dorian, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis announced government's plan to erect domes as temporary housing for ABACO storm victims. Back in October, Disaster and Reconstruction Committee co-chair John Michael Clark said that government will construct 250 domes in ABACO, which could withstand 180 to 200 miles per hour winds. To date, residents have not been able to occupy them. According to Butler Turner, the domes are a waste of money.
These domes are sitting pretty much on platforms. If that particular, cyclone that they said passed through Marsh Harbor yesterday had gone in the area of those things would have been picked up and dashed away in no time at all. That's no safety measure for your people. What we needed to do was to really get a lot of our skilled and tradespeople into ABACO and volunteers to go and help people rebuild homes.
The former FNM MP also slammed the decision to form the Ministry of Disaster Preparedness Management and Reconstruction. She says it was not the right move.
Unfortunately, I do not know where this ministry is located. I do not know how many officers are in this ministry. I do not know what the budget is for this ministry. I somehow believe that it was definitely not the right move, because one of the things that government could have truly done is worked in partnership with the private sector to ensure that things happened more efficiently.
She added that government should look for a plan as to how to protect the country during natural disasters.
There's got to be a full plan with regards to how do we, as a country, try to protect and mitigate our people and our building codes and how we're going to redevelop and transform in a way that we can actually have greater sustainability in the face of climate change and everything.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Up next, Atlantis names its Employees of the Year. So stay with us.
Check. So all you've been doing on this court was traveling. When you see me travel, go watch my free NBA pass game. I can come back harder, smoke it, spicy.
Free NBA pass.
Doing what we're doing. Each month they send a lucky customer on an all-expense-paid trip to the States to watch a game. And even if you don't win that, you could have a local experience because they can pay for all your food and drinks and participate in bars, so you still have a good time, bro.
I could get in on that.
All you have to do is sign up for Trio and you enter the drawing. Ferrari, don't lie.
Get denied like this guy, make sure you come through in the clutch. Sign up for Trio and be a Rev NBA All-Star. Guarantee your chance to win a free trip to an NBA game every month when you sign up for Trio today. Call 601-8992. Terms and conditions apply. Rev, you and us together.
Atlantis continues to celebrate the invaluable efforts of its employees. The mega resort held its annual Crystal Awards Diamond Gala recently. 37 team members vied for the coveted Crystal Award in their respective categories of leader, manager, and employee. But in the end, it would be Ivan Miller of Finance walking away with the Leader of the Year title. Securities FILECE Dorset and Special Events and Entertainment's Antonio Johnson both were named Managers of the Year. As for the big awards of the night, BYRON Attenborough of the Coral and the Beach won Employee of the Year Front of House, while Information Technology's BRIDGETTE MACKEY was named Employee of the Year Heart of House.
It made me feel great. Hard work pays off.
I actually didn't even hear it. I sat there for a moment trying to take it all in, and I was absolutely speechless, to say the least. I'm so excited. I feel so honored, and I'm very, very grateful. This is a great opportunity, and yeah, I'm excited.
Oh my gosh, this is such an unbelievable honor. You know, to think that I can come in every day and do what I genuinely love. and to be recognized for that, it is truly an honor. I am so grateful. Feels really good.
Meantime, Ivan Miller and Antonio Johnson tells us what they believe set them apart from the other candidates.
Well, my drive, I spend a lot of hours here. I work some weeks 6-7 days a week. I've put in a lot of time to ensure that things run smoothly in the food and beverage operation. I cover all the food and beverage operations from the golf course, Harborside, Cove, the Reef. And it's just my drive, I think, that separates us, as well as the fact that I participate with the company in terms of the other functions that they have. I lead the bowling operation here.
You know what it is? I think consistency and hard work, and consistently hard working separates you from everybody else. Once you consistently push and consistently work. Last year I actually lost the Crystal Awards, and through God's grace and mercy, I actually won this year. So I'm so thankful and overjoyed.
Atlantis dished out thousands of dollars in cash to the 5 winners, and as for what they have planned to do with all the money,
I have a son that's in college. I have to pay some college fees.
Well, tomorrow this is a lot of money, and I have no plans yet. Just very excited and very overwhelmed.
Oh, me and my husband have a lot of plans for the funds. I don't know if this can cover all of my plans, but definitely I have huge plans.
Wow, you know what? It has to sink in still, so I have to kind of sit and think about that. I do have 2 kids, so you know a lot of resources go into raising a family. But I'll definitely have to sit and think more about what I can do with such an awesome gift.
Well, I want to save quite a bit of it, but at the same time, I'm going to take a good chunk of this, and we're going to have a good time. We're going to party. I want to celebrate with my co-workers as well as with my family.
Well, 18 young men and women from across New Providence will vie for the coveted title of Top Model Bahamas and the opportunity to represent the country abroad. Director Bernadette Robinson tells us a little bit about what the winners will walk away with.
The prizes is a round trip to London to compete in Top Model Worldwide UK. And if they win that competition, they get an opportunity to walk in London Fashion Week. There are other prizes and surprises for the winners. We just didn't let them know yet what it is. It'll be revealed on stage.
But it's just not about the prizes. The models say they've grown to appreciate the constructive criticism that they've received from the organization.
Our practices has been really intense, practicing 3 times a week, and the criticism is very well needed. Working on our walks, and for me personally, learning things that, you know, I don't particularly know because, you know, someone else is watching me. So they have, you know, that view that I wouldn't have.
The practices, it's very good, to be honest, because the criticism that they put on us, it's not really to say hurt our feelings, but it's to bring us up. So when they say, oh, you can't walk or you ain't walking right, they're actually telling us that, hey, we know you have it inside you and you can do better.
We count down the most memorable quotes of the week. That's coming up when Our News, the Weekend Edition, returns.
Check. So all you've been doing on this court was traveling. When you see me travel to go watch my free NBA pass game, I can come back out and smoke it. Spicy.
Free NBA pass.
Doing what we're doing. Each month they send a lucky customer on an all-expense-paid trip to the States to watch a game. And even if you don't win that, you could have a local experience because they can pay for all your food and drinks and participate in bars, so you still have a good time, bro.
I could get in on that.
All you have to do is sign up for Trio and you enter the drawing. That don't lie.
Get denied like this guy, make sure you come through in the clutch. Sign up for Trio and be a Rev NBA All-Star. Guarantee your chance to win a free trip to an NBA game every month when you sign up for Trio today. Call 601-8992. Terms and conditions apply. Rev, you and us together.
Finally tonight, it's a time when we take a look back at the most memorable moments of the week in news in our Quote of the Week segment. And in at number 3 is President of the Bahamas Utilities Services and Allied Workers Union Dwayne Woods, who apologized to water and sewage customers in advance as the union is preparing to take drastic measures to get management to meet them at the table.
We are here today and we expect results today. If we don't get no results, then we will up the ante. Every day go by, you will find that there's some action by this union until our matters are resolved.
Well, Water and Sewage Chairman Adrian Gibson hit back at the union, warning that any employee who engages in any illegal sick-out will have their pay deducted. His comments take the number 2 spot.
If this illegal action is undertaken by staff members, it is expected that the staff members who are absent provide the corporation with a sick note, subject themselves to inspection by the corporation's industrial nurse, and failing the above, WSC would be left with no choice but to deduct the time from staff pay. We want to discourage the union's executives and invite them to refrain from disrupting the day-to-day operations at WSC. We know the threat to disrupt service to our customers, and we call upon them to rethink that.
House Speaker Halton Moultrie says he is conflicted about the issue of marital rape, but leans toward the view that spiritually a husband cannot rape his wife. His comments take the top spot for Quote of the Week.
I always prefer to lean with the spiritual aspect. I think that's the safest way because laws continually change. But spiritual principles are forever, they don't change. The laws change to accommodate society and to accommodate traditions and mischief in society.